I'm prepared. I'm prepared. Okay, so that works. Oh, why can't I get the microphone? Who is scanning hearts? Get on the microphone. Good evening, everybody. I'm currently struggling to put on my microphone cap. Okay, you know what? You're going in the bin. I'll deal with that later. There we go. I do think I lost the clip though, so I can't clip it to my t-shirt. So I guess I just gotta hold on to it the whole time. Alright. I was watching Minecraft before this, so I kind of lost track of time. See on the flip side? Join for 5 seconds. My babies, my babies, this is my babies. I really want to be real with you. My favorite part is when I made his eyes like chrome and stuff like that. I think that's my favorite part of the entire thing. ACC goods when I get my hands on you. Okay. How'd you shade so well? So here is the thing. My process is a bit odd. Because I think that this will be better explained with Mandy. Because this is who I started out with. So I started out with a just like a sketch. I kind of just reworked it until like the proportions looked more chibi-ish kind of. And then I go in with my line art brush, which I've recently changed to and I love it. And I do my flat colors. I actually made up her color palette on the spot here, which I'm really proud of. But then what I usually go to, and I learned this from I believe Ponder Sprocket, which is I take a dark purple, usually. The colors, I usually can adjust them later with the color adjuster, but I put it on the multiply layer, and then I don't really have like a designated like area where the light comes from. So I just kind of do like a generic shading where, the shade would usually be, where like it turns into the face, and then I kind of just like blend it as I add. And I usually add it like between the hair creases and under the chin and like the collarbone. It also doubles as like blush and stuff like that if I want to add that. And then usually one thing I do is I will leave a teeny gap. I'll add like a circle to the middle, but like kind of leave the outer edges, and then I go back with my eraser and I like cut in little areas because the hair is individual pieces, and to like kind of like create that illusion that it is, I go in and like add light or like get rid of the shadows in certain parts so it kind of looks a bit more realistic even if it's a chibi. And then I just soften that, and I kind of repeat that same thing, except I kind of go in with like a bright color. I change this later just to get the mapping out. And I just, go. I decided the sun would be over on the side, so I kind of just put that there where I think the light would be, and then I change it with there's a little option in Procreate to change change the colors and hues, and then I go back later after all the rendering is done. Do this before after the rendering is done because the colors are not going to stay the same if you're like me. So then I go in and I color the line art so they match up and it looks a bit more softer because harsh black lines do not compute as well to be soft colors. And then then I add little highlights extra if I feel like I need it. So, and then, yeah, that's essentially my process. And then I kind of used her as a base model because just to get the proportions correct. And then I did the same. I kind of adjusted as time went on. I will never give up the iCarly knees that I give all of them because I just think it's a really cute um little thing to do. It's a more interesting of a shape or like silhouette, I would say. Now as you can see, I just put in the base colors. I do my thing. I gave him a bit of a. I gave him blue this time just because it matched because his color palette is primarily blue. But you can just do a color and then just change the hues later if you can on digital. So and I just go in. I think I chose a darker blue to go in over again, just to kind of give it a bit more dimension. And then I did the same thing with the lighting. I adjusted it, and then I actually did a lot more, where I did like an add layer, and then I went over with more colors. So you can see the pink on the rim, and then with warmer colors here. But then I ended up changing it a little bit, and then I ended off with the lighting. And I ended up actually going over at the very last minute because I felt his eyes were a bit too flat. And I added some chrome. I think I really like it better like that. I was originally gonna do a Parker and Sunday sticker together, but then I ended up giving up and doing Sunday on the plane on my way home. I like my little detail. I was really struggling with getting his necromancy book correct, because you can see earlier I was just like, how how do I write it? Do I write it separately and then put it? I don't know. It was a struggle, but I really like his design here. I think I want to draw him more. You can see me working a bit on a Penelope sketch, but also I really wanted to change up her hair, but I ended up seeing it was ugly. And then I started Parker, and then I gave up. And here we are. Do I watch Alien Stage? Yes, I do. I don't know if I made that very clear with the fact that I literally made Alien Stage art with the fact that I based Parker's voice claim is what the voice acting community calls it. Um, that's who I essentially think he sounds the closest to, since he does speak Korean. So that's a cute little detail. I believe I also based a lot of um Vanessa's traits off of Ivan or Ivan, depending on how you pronounce it. You do it the traditional Korean way, which is Ivan, or you do it just American Ivan. Depending on just it's your personal taste. There's an alien stage and then there's a zombie stage. Ooh, don't get me started on the zombie stage. I'm about to beat somebody up. That I really, it's a really great version of the AU, but also I hate everyone in it, and I think that was the point. So I'm really happy with it, but I also want to beat up Suwa to an outrageous degree. There's a vampire stage 2 or something. Nah, I think it's a symbolic thing. I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's the school, there's the zombie stage, there's alien stage, and then there's the actor. So I think all of them are really cute. They make it so much entertaining. Um, eh, uh, I really got it. I don't really like to engage with this one because it kind of just makes me really sad, especially as someone in the YouTube entertainment industry. When you go into the entertainment industry of any kind, you essentially sign over your privacy, your safety for the most part, your autonomy if you're with an agency or something. This is why I, for the most part, am going the Gooseworks route, and I'm not really ever going to give show my face or like my real name or anything like that. I think someone asked me out on Tumblr, and I actually answered this. You guys can ask me questions on Tumblr, by the way. I have it linked in my description. I someone asked me if I would be attending Anime Con. I don't think I will be doing cons for a while, just because I have a lot of merch that I need to work on, as you can literally see me doing right here. And I don't want to just go there for fun because I feel like if I have a booth, I'm a little bit safer. But also I am working on a cosplay. But also I'm literally in the middle of like uprooting my entire life. My room is literally like destroyed because I've been packing up stuff. I literally got to like dismantle my bed in a few hours. So I'm gonna be sleeping on a mattress. It's gonna be a lot for me at the moment, but maybe soon, maybe next year, I will think of attending one, and I can actually like meet you guys, um, and have my own like merch to sell. But it's pretty far down in the line of stuff I gotta worry about, you know. Sorry if I sound really weird. I have my retainers in, so I have an even worse lisp than I do normally. Which character do I like in Alien Stage? I like all of them, to be completely honest with you, but I have grown a bit softer for Miji. So I think she's my favorite female character, but I think the one I'm really like deeply invested in is Ivan. I will say that. And it's not just because OMG Yowie. No, I think that type of thinking in any fandom is really disgusting in my opinion. But also just generally because I get a lot of like uh lore stuff on my like whenever I'm like scrolling and stuff like that. People like will drop lore from like the comics, which I'm not able to read, just because they're not really accessible to me. Most aren't in English as far as I'm aware, but I get little stuff like that, and I think he's a really like cute and complex character. And I think his interactions with everybody is also really cute. I saw two Alien Stage cosplayers at the mall. Oh, I'm so jealous, bro. Also, I know people complain about my breathing because I talk so much. It's gonna sound even worse because I have a microphone. So, you're gonna pop out for now. Okay. Why don't you use the lasso tool to color? Because I like it better this way. Okay, don't stop my flow. To be completely honest with you, I usually do, but I also just find like the coloring process kind of fun, therapeutic. I used to have coloring books when I was little, and I don't know. Now, does this lead to me having a bunch of holes that I need to later go back and finish? Yeah, yeah, sure, I do. But I don't know. I kind of enjoy it. Uh, no, because the thing is, I used to breathe pretty heavily in my old streams and even like now, because you can hear me just like talk so much and without really taking any breaths, so that like whenever I'm just silent, it's just like stuff like that, and people pointed it out, and I remember I literally just went silent because I didn't know how to respond to that, and I was like, oh, that was kind of mean, you didn't have to say that. And now I'm just like super like self-conscious about it, just trying to be like, don't breathe heavily, don't breathe heavily, don't breathe, like it's kind of just Gah! Also, for those following my Pinterest, I do have boards related to my character. So if you want, I just started them, so there's not many. But if you want to like go and just check out stuff that I think like is related to my characters or what I like, I have like outfit inspiration that I want to do whenever I redesign some of my characters for the individual seasons and episodes and stuff. Um, that's something you can check out. I always like getting asked questions about my characters because then I can actually like ramble instead of just occasionally posting to YouTube posts like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is a thing." Because and the question is like, "Why didn't you tell us this?" And like, you never asked. You never asked me. I never knew this is what you guys wanted to know. The haters, you hate the yap ability. I'm a yapper. Wait, what did someone say? Road question does you hold. Huh? How long on average does it take you to finish a drawing? I think between 2 to 4 hours. I don't. It rarely ever takes me 4 hours to finish one. I think I can hold on. Let me go back. Let me see how long. Because you said I know people were commenting how I took like I did not take a long time to finish my Rota drawing. Rota. Uh, because I was posting like pictures like in progress shots within like an hour. So I think this yeah, I think this is like the only one that took me almost 4 hours, but you can see like the little details of like the individual like scratching and like the little I really love the eyes. I was struggling with the eyes for a minute. Also, these has no birth like flames because I actually edited it in CapCut to have a little video version, but I ended up hating it so much I didn't post it. But I just took a screenshot of that with the flames on it, and then I just moved on. Ugh. To draw with your fingers or on a pen? I use a pen. This is a Pencil Pro, and I have a little case that holds it on the top, and it can charge on top of my thing, so that's nice. I'm trying to figure out who you're responding to. I don't know. I'll never find it. Do you ever use the reference feature window? Yes, but here, so for future Procreate users, here's a thing that is, at least I don't know if it's just a me thing, or if I'm just a chud, or if like something's up with Procreate. When you use the reference window, it usually is slightly different with the colors. Like if you're doing it to color drop, uh, it's always sometimes, in my opinion, or like in my experience, sometimes it's off. Like the color will be like, let's say like this is the color, but the color that if like this is the color you get if you in the that's in the reference, okay? But when you color pick it, it always is either like slightly darker, like slightly more this that, or it's just slightly lighter. I never know. Like it's always the slightest bit, but whenever it comes together, it looks very noticeable. So I've always had to like go back and color adjust it. One thing that always works in my opinion is just actually importing the layer and having it in the corner and just color swatching it from there. But that's just me. How many seasons are there in your story? I think I planned for 5, but I actually might shorten it. This is my whole thing is a proof of concept. Like for a show, if I ever decide to like go to glitch or something, or just make it on my own. Um, I think I planned for 5, but actually watching back like old shows that I used to watch when I was little, like Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast and stuff like that, I realized that even like that show does not have very long episode runtime, and it only needed like 3 seasons to get its entire story out. So I think I might need to shorten it a little bit because actually I was yapping to somebody about like the chronological order, and I'm like, this feels a bit too long of a show. So I think I'm gonna shorten it to 4. I think my whole plan was to have like a season for each like surrounded for each character, and then at the end just have it like them all together. I don't know if it was going to be the first season or the last season that I was going to just it be not related to a specific character, but it might change. Yeah, honestly, I wish Procreate had the kind of um like not layer. What's the thing like where you guys can go like change like the opacity, like the tools that it has. I think I wish I had a bit more of that. But otherwise, I really enjoy it. I saw Kipo as a kid. Well, when I say as a kid, I mean like when I was like 10 and I was just starting. You can actually see a lot of inspiration um for my characters from that show specifically, and I didn't even realize it until watching it back because it has a mixed race child who has sharp hair, pink eyes, and just really like has really cool powers. And then you have the supporting cast of an annoying guy, annoying bug, um, a just a guy who's the friend of the bug, and then you have a standoffish, cold, I can do everything on my own, I don't need anybody else leader of the group that has a really cool weapon. And then you have an evil, sharp angled girl who plans to eradicate the rest of the planet as the main villain. So I think just I took a lot of inspiration from that. Sorry to anyone who just got spoiled. It's I didn't spoil too much, but I mean, you figure out who the villain is pretty quickly after you meet them. I just got back from war. I still don't have the secret of the guy. I I deeply apologize. Then I don't know. Um, I don't know if I ever told you this. Um, Parker's blonde. I don't know if you guys like ever use such a limited palette. I never made an official palette for Sunday. I feel so bad. Um, Parker's blonde. I think I've mentioned this in a pretty old post, but when they since so here's the thing is I don't think I ever explained the species and stuff like that. Vanessa is a part of they're called fae, but they're obviously not like genuine fae because they're not mythical creatures. But so how it works is the male characters or the males in the species are a bit stronger, but they don't appear as threatening because they're meant to be like persuade people and like world leaders and like convince them into deals to hand over their weaponry and stuff. Because there's obviously there's the strong men and then there's the people negotiating, and that's what they were designed for. But the female counterparts of the species were weaker, and weren't as given as many you know buffs. But the thing is, the male counterparts have like pastel colors in their hair more specifically, but they can have it on their skin or just like their ears and stuff. So she originally just had brown hair because the females don't have that. But she ends up after being bullied for not only being a girl but being a runt. She kind of just dyes her hair, as you can see, to be like cool, and she starts like working out a lot to try and be more masculine, not because of anything like feminism, but just literally trying to survive. Um, and so in this, Parker really hated being blonde, because he really liked how some people had brunette hair, and she found a way to like make brunette like brown dye, and so that's literally their little dynamic. They didn't really like each other, but she would dye his hair for him. And he would dye her hair because obviously you can't really do it that well to yourself. So I thought that was a cute little thing to bring up. What's a Parker? Oh my god. Kipo actually just got taken off of Netflix, which is why I was binge watching it. So it's Voltron and it's Shira. Like y'all are getting rid of like all of your Gen Z like cult favorites, bruh. I'm kind of just like making up a palette to be honest with you right now because I didn't have an official one for him, and so I'm literally working to just make one. So bear with me here. We might see some changes. The design always stayed the same, but I never really had to worry about color palettes because I never really made that many colored stuff, like art. But also, I never really drew Sunday, so he's getting the makeover, boys. Females are weaker, but much larger and faster. Yeah, because here's the thing: they're meant to be scouts, while the men were essentially meant to be like the persuaders, because obviously, patriarchy exists. but it wasn't because of like I didn't write him like that because of some like feminist bias. Oh, look how strong a female can be. It's literally just meant to be show how desperate she is to not only be like to survive, but to be seen as something like actually worth like caring about. Because before, Annalita kind of hated her. I mean, first of all, Annalita's racist, but I think I actually thought of this little meme in my head. She's like, I draw the line at I can excuse racism, but I cannot excuse my daughter being bullied. And the thing is, like, both of her children are mixed or African, which is the messed up part because literally how she treats them is with um racist undertones. So there's that. I mean, it's kind of she doesn't love anybody, not even like her own husband. So that's what it's kind of meant to. What brush do I use? So I usually, in the actual newest update of Procreate, I use Stanley for flat colors and then coloring it in. And then I go back to my personal brushes, and I use Render 1. I cannot find the name. I'm not even like gatekeeping. I cannot find the name of the pack owner. I got it a long time ago and it's just labeled basics. So maybe one day if I go back to the original site where I got it, I could try and track down the name, but wait, which setting are you using Prism Live? It's I use the screen setting and I made my own VTuber layers and I just added it in there. Added and I go you go to the scene editing and you add it onto the screen and you add it onto the screen, then you just adjust the background. I think I can teach you at some point, like make like a little tiny video about it, but I don't. That's not a guarantee, like at all. Oh, I'm using render. I need to go back. Take me back. Take me back. Oh, I accidentally closed live chat. My bad. Do I have an art fight? No, I'm not doing that this year, sadly. Too much stuff going on. Too many things I want to do. It's just not my year. Oh, you're leaving. Bye. Um, did they get rid of the? I don't know. Yeah, and Lita hates everybody. I mean, she is literally based off of the devil, so take that with a grain of salt. That's why I was kind of a bit upset more than I should be at people sympathizing with Annalita in the old video I made of how she got her, face torn apart by disease. But I didn't properly explain her as a character beforehand, and as a if in my position I already know like a lot of stuff about my characters, and so people from the outside looking in do not know that, and I kind of have to like remind myself that they're not in my shoes. It's kind of like when you're a game developer, like obviously it's easy to you because you're the one that made like the game mechanics, but to other people you got to think about it from a new person's perspective. So just I gotta just keep humbling myself in that regard. Do you have any advice for character design or story writing? Um, Honestly, don't be afraid to make your story similar to something else. I it also don't be afraid to don't like have to tell yourself that you have to stick to one thing. My characters have taken in the 3 years that they've been in development, they have taken a lot of turns, both as characters and also the story has changed a lot. So honestly, just don't stress too much about if this scene makes sense. Honestly, just you have an idea, start there, and then just get inspired by certain things. Usually I get a lot of very important things from music or just if I watch a new movie. Um, Usually that's where I get a lot of just like changes and stuff like that. It might just come to you in a dream, which has also happened. Just literally just be patient with yourself and I figured at like sometimes when I was in the middle of development and I realized my story was way too complicated and made no sense, I took a step back and I adjusted it, and then now then you move on from there. Sometimes you have to just take a step back and realize it's this is not making sense, this is not working, and just pick back up with a more coherent story. Not to say that the other one was bad, or because nobody's gonna get it the first try. I mean, book writers adjust as they go along too, so it's just you just gotta know that, like, hey, you sh- you- I'm getting tangled up in words. Give me un momento. Um, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I liked a lot of things at the time. I had always been writing a mutant story, like with a hero character, for even before I even made my current characters. It's just always been something I was super really wanting to make. And it might just be because I was really edgy, and then I decided to make it a reality. But I was stuck with that. Does not mean you have to always stick with that exact thing, but if it works, it works, and you just make a story that you want to. Now, people might call me a furry for having characters that aren't furries, but simply having animal traits because it's meant to be a dichotomy, or a dichotomy of how humans behave and how humans are seen. But I can live with that. I think that's kind of what I've accepted. I can live with that. I think when it came to writing a lot of my characters, a lot of them actually changed, um, just their personalities or just evolved alongside me. I think a lot of them took inspiration from me. I think some funny thing is, this might be gross, kind of. Uh, in I kind of killed off Sunday at some point when I was going through development. Like I think a year or two ago. And had replaced. I think his name was Sunny before, and then I changed it to something else, and then I ended up just going back to that name idea, and it just stuck. Um, but it's again, it's changed so much I can't even like say right now. It's a lot. Development of a story does not just take a day or a week or even like a few months. Um, but you'll get there. I yapped for way too long. Yeah, I think I'm going to discuss the timeline once I answer a few more questions because it's not that complicated, but I have not taken the time to explain it at all, so that is my fault. My iPad's too old to work. Dang, that's fair. What is there a character super important to the plot that's just a background character and does nothing? What if there was a character super important to the plot? Oh, I mean that's not a too like niche of a um plot thing. It happens a lot. I think my favorite um take on that like plot twist is Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber on Fleet Street. If you're a musical fanatic, you may know about this. It takes place with Sweeney Todd, and he was accused. I think he was wrongfully accused of something, and was put in prison while his wife was taken by a jealous judge, who ended up taking advantage of her whenever he was gone, which is really sad. But they also had a daughter, um, when Sweeney Todd finally, gets away and gets back to his life, he is looking for his daughter, who is currently being, you know, raised and, by the judge that, I believe it's implied that he killed, the mom, but uh, turns out that and there was this little beggar woman who sits at the corner, that is seen in throughout the movie. I'm referencing the movie. The musical might be different. Um, that's in the movie that's just kind of never really acknowledged, but is always just there. Um, and there's this little melody that plays, and it's the melody you hear during the there's a scene where like the judge is at a ballroom, and he invites the mom to the ballroom where she is unfortunately taken advantage of. But that music plays whenever that character's on the screen, and it's such a subtle nod towards that character as a leitmotif, which I'm not going to try to explain a leitmotif. Um, and turns out the mom is the beggar woman. So Sweeney Todd had been looking for his wife, who he had thought was dead for years at this point, and it was a woman that was just down the street the whole time. And the new woman that Sweeney Todd meets in the story, um, gets who's infatuated with him. She ends up killing the beggar woman after finding out, so that he won't find out, and he does. And obviously, it's the Demon Barber on Fleet Street, so that goes there from there. Sorry, that was a lot of rambling, but I think just having small things like that, I think I would love to work with a leitmotif for all of my characters. But I'm not a music person, so I think that would again just be if I ever got this into development, or if I ever want to dabble around with music. What's your biggest tip for improving in art? Memorizing shapes. So the thing is, a lot of thing about art, I I work in a very odd way, and it's hard to explain, but I'll pick certain small things up, like how someone draws an eye, but then they have like the wider, like thicker lines on the outside. And I liked that. I picked up on that specifically because I thought it was aesthetically pleasing to me. Or, as I said before, when someone shades in, purple and they use a multiply layer, the colors look better than if I used black. So it's just picking up on small things that you notice. And the more you learn about how to use the certain software you, that's my mom. um, my mama, dear Lord, $100. Mom, Mom, $100. Oh, you.
It's not me.
Why are you spying on me?
It's not me.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Ugh. Anyway, what was I talking about? um, so I think my biggest thing was learning to just learn shapes, because also, like, one thing I really picked up a lot was folds. So some of the most common folds. So let me just draw a sleeve here. Let's say it's like a puffy, like loose sleeve. Usually it'll go out because of gravity is pulling it down, and then it meets up at the base, and you have to curl it back in because obviously there's still a seam that's just attached, so it just falls around it. And then you see this little corner here, this little sharp corner. There's the top layer of this is falling downwards onto the rest of the clothing, so you just draw it slightly coming over that, and so that's how you get it. Usually I add another one just because it's a bit more sharper and cleaner, and I usually add some for the cuffs just because you can see that commonly if you study little pieces of clothing and stuff like that, you can actually just study like models and stuff like that and see where it falls. Usually curves will be near the hips or just anywhere that is it's hanging loosely or scrunched up. But it changes depending on the texture of the clothing, whether it's like fleece or it's just silk, or depending on how loose it is on a character. So tighter clothing will have less wrinkles, or smaller wrinkles, I should say, than a tight or than a loose sweater like this would be. Also, I gave him. He's wearing gloves. I did not. He's not gray. Just figured I'd mention that because I kind of forgot to. I'm trying to use a mixture of green and purple in his design. I think I already gave. um, I think I already gave characters yellow, and I already gave them green. So I think with his motif, with his design motif being purple, which is also commonly in media used as the color of poison, and then also mixing in green in there, which is also typically, in movies like old Disney movies seen as poison. Just stuff like that kind of communicates like to people's eyes that this is a dangerous character. But I also gave him here's some cute little shape theory. So we all know that the three common things in when you're like first getting art is the circle, the square, and the triangle, because you can work with these as a silhouette. Like usually if a character is primarily circular, they're more seen as more cuddly, more, warm, more inviting. Squares are usually reserved for big strong people, um, which can usually be like big buff characters or anything of the like. And triangles are usually reserved for or sharp angles, I should say, are usually reserved for villains. Because to us, sharp is danger. Sharp is, you know, something dangerous like a knife, which is literally right next to here. So when I give a lot of my characters both like softer, angles like here, like or over here, but then end it off with a sharp angle here, it communicates that one, this character is both um sweet looking, but also that they're semi dangerous. And I know it's like kind of weird because everyone has angles in their hair, and some shows that rely primarily on sharp angles like Invader Zim, it works a bit differently. But that's just something I learned pretty early on. I think there's a video that talks about one silhouettes, and then it talks about characters like and how like they should work with um, color language and also shape language. I think that really did help me when working on my characters because all their silhouettes are so different. So again, I'm just having fun. I find this extremely fun to talk about. Even I'm not the greatest at explaining, I still find it just deeply fascinating to talk about. That made more sense than my art teacher explaining it. Well, that's just because I'm also used to be an art student, like used to be in a school art class, and I know how they explain it wrong, and I know how they explain it well. I think later after the stream, I will try to link it in a community post because there are certain places where I've learned a lot. I will actually follow those like art channels that have like a lot of really good tips that have like really cool art styles. Another big inspo for where I want to take my art like in the future is Shaded-Louise. It's Sleo, I'm pretty sure, and their art style is gorgeous. Like it's semi-realism, and you can see sometimes my art trying to go in that direction. I think this is where I took the inspiration of instead of making my character's sclera like pure white, I made it gray, sometimes a darker gray, and then have like lighter eyes, and it kind of balances it out to make it look white. Um, sorry, my voice is trembling. So again, you, I'm sorry, I'm just getting so giddy talking about art. I love this as my profession. Also, I gave him Mary Jane's, which are shoes I actually wear. I've ever heeled Mary Jane's, and I just thought giving him Mary Jane's would, commonly are seen as like cute, adorable, like doll-esque shoes, would help also communicate that he's supposed to look non-threatening while being extremely threatening. So, I feel really sad that I kind of gave like I really wanted to write more about his culture as an African character, but then I also realized he doesn't even know about it. So I feel like why I feel like that's why I kind of saved it for later, whenever he, gets out of the world. But also I don't think that he ever would learn about it just because he grew up in like extremely rigid, um exclusionary Korean, like area, obviously. So I don't know if he would ever learn how to take care of his hair or what African culture is like. He can't even speak any languages that would be native there, even if he was born there, he doesn't really know anything about it, which is kind of sad. So I figured that would have been a really great thing to have him like learn the culture, but also at this point in the story, the most of the world is already taken over, so all of his culture would have already been dead, and I feel like that's a much better plot line of him learning like I've literally lost everything and now I don't even know like who I am as like um a group of people, or like where I am from and what my people, were and what they were like in history. So that's kind of when he like snaps, because like okay, he kind of turns into an anti-villain or anti-hero, I would say, at the end. I don't think he ever turns into a full-on villain, but I think he just kind of reaches his breaking point because he doesn't really have a purpose for like existing, and so he doesn't see the point of in other people having their own lives when he doesn't even know his own. I think it's more of just like a okay, if I can't have anything, you guys can't either. So I think that's really where I want to take it. I really did want to go. I think I have in my gallery a old thing where I designed him based off of real like African hairstyles and stuff like that. But yeah, here it is. But I realized maybe this would happen, maybe it would not. Cause I think I really do want to give him and Penny more black hairstyles later, because obviously it kind of just symbolizes they're more as themselves, in learning who they are and being who they are rather than just being, what their mom wants them to be. I feel like that could be just an interesting little thing. But hmm, I'm struggling with words right now. I am. I am. Mary Jane. I love my Mary Janes. I used to wear them all the time. And then I found heeled Uggs. My mom can testify. I wore them like ever since I got them, and then it became summer, and I had to ditch them. At least for now. Noise around me is just mixing together. That's fine. That's completely understandable. I feel like I'm taking way longer on this than I usually would. I yap a lot, and I find the sound of my own voice kind of soothing, which makes a lot of sense. Because I yap way too much, but. So the thing is, I recently went thrifting when I was visiting family, and so I got a big old thing of I got boots because I'm American, um, and then Mary Jane's, which I'd gotten actually a year previously for my Jane Doe cosplay, that I did for Halloween, and then I got my UGG boots, and I'm very happy. Your voice sounds so nice and mature compared to mine. I I likely sound nicer um on my phone than I do in real life because I have a pretty I would say my voice goes between really animated and then really monotone. Um but people have said I have a nice voice, but honestly, I don't know. I kind of feel 50-50 on it because my voice can sound really weird at times and then sound like completely normal and mature at other times. My voice is very odd. I've never really found my voice in a sort of sense. At least I don't feel comfortable with it yet. Also, new worst experience when I had to go in and get my retainers put on. When I tell you, okay, where is it? There we go. When I tell you, because here's the thing. Here's the process. For those who don't have braces, you get your braces on. You have them for whatever time allotted that the dentist gives you. And then you come back. You get them taken off once they think that you're good to go. And then yeah, I had to wait a little bit because again I was traveling, and then I come back and my teeth had already separated. I think I made a little post, but this because my little Sona has my gap, just for funsies and just kind of nostalgia. Um, and then your teeth are separated, and then they have this piece of plastic that was molded based on your non-separated teeth. And so the feeling of them shoving on the piece of plastic and forcing your teeth back together, and I had no Tylenol and I was not prepared for this. Oh, up there with like menstrual cramps for me, man. I hated that. Then funnily right after that, it's kind of like that situation like when your mom's friend meets you at Walmart and they start talking. It's just that they would talk. My mom was talking about like sports or something like that with the person that was working there, and I was just kind of sitting there like staring like daggers into her because I was like, "Can we go? Can we go? Can we go? Can we go?" But it, we left eventually, and the pain went away because you know, fake it till you make it, America. Do you believe time zones are a dumb concept? No, I mean, certain places are gonna be, at a different time zone than others because the sun meets them at different times. I feel like it's actually a pretty good concept because otherwise we'd just be saying like, oh, it's like 12 o'clock in the morning, and then like for other people, oh no, it's night outside. Like I feel like that would make less sense than having time zones. I'm deciding if I want to make this lighter because this looks a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna make these lighter. Oh wait, that actually looks pretty nice. What? I drew it on the wrong layer. No. Okay, there we go. Eh. I see the point of time zones. I think it's an odd thing to for anyone to have an opinion on because I never would have guessed like time zones, but you do you. I don't think very much. I think, but then I don't think. I think enough to make a thought, but then the thought doesn't actually do anything. I think enough to make a thought for the things that I'm in the middle of doing. I don't really think much beyond that. Yeah, I feel like also time zones this is such a dumb thing to be talking about. Um Cause then you can keep track of what it. Cause also it's like a generalized time. Like 1 in the morning, it's gonna be dark. 12 o'clock in the morning, it's like midday. It's gonna be pretty bright outside for the most part. Like just saying stuff like that, and you say like, oh, over here it's 12, or like over here it's 6 o'clock. It kind of just gives you like a demonstration of, oh, that's what it's like for them right now, kind of thing. Anyway, there you go. I don't know. I think I should give him actual hands. Okay, you get your hand privileges, I guess. I don't know. I'll take them away later, don't worry. Honestly, um can we like have a real discussion about Odd Danny for a second? If any of you guys are like interested in animal fact videos and you've gotten Odd Danny content, I deeply apologize because that we don't I don't like him. Nobody claims him. He's always wrong about something. And then I kid you not, a zoologist who I follow and actually gives good advice, um he actually made a video talking about the inaccuracies and giving actual, like fun facts about the characters he was talking about. And Odd Danny responds with, those things are actually true. He's wrong. You're talking to a zoologist. This Danny, you have not met a single one of the animals you're talking about. I don't know, but just stuff like that always makes me like really spun up because I'm just like, no, no, no. I don't know. Maybe it's just because animals. I like animals. I think I can't really show it anymore because obviously with moving, I packaged up all of my wall decorations. I actually made a painting of a secretary bird, and I actually still have it up though. I have a drawing I did for an animal class of the secretary bird in multiple poses, and I love it. It's my favorite animal, and I'm so sad I do not have a character design for I might have to. Wait a minute. I'm gonna take a break from stickers because I can do that anytime. But I think because those people were talking about this, I think I want to remake um Hansel and Heathen for you guys. And if you guys don't know who that is, I made a post recently talking about Parker's like canon scars in the show and stuff like that. And when talking about it, people ask where he got them, and it's basically here's the thing. I had gone through a lot of drafts of what this show would be, like what the premise would be, and one of them was kind of like an Epic the Musical sort of thing. Um where they were like Vanessa would have to explore to find certain things to help out. And this actually does actually stick. But it's not like the whole purpose of the show. Um in the last I think the third season I want to put this in, they have to go around and find certain things to make certain potions because potions and like elixirs and stuff exist in this. I think part of it was to make bombs. um Nuclear warfare does exist. But this in the original draft, Vanessa was meant to meet the two-headed snake people, which essentially like well, it's not two-headed. It's two people that are an Annalita's henchmen that are snake people, but they're connected at the base with a long tail, but they look human from the top. And I didn't have a name for them, to be completely honest with you. I think they were meant to just be entities that would gift her a certain thing if she like managed not to like fall into like a spell, because they're also like sirens. I did eventually change them from being that sort of thing to just being like offensive bodyguards type of thing that just kind of hunt them down. But nowadays, I think I recently named them Hansel and Heathen because it's a brother and sister. But they have a weapon that actually takes inspiration from biblical times. I know religion isn't every. I can't actually kid you not. Somebody said it in my comments about my show on my page. I didn't say this anywhere else. On my page, talking about how their weapon is inspired by a weapon that was used in biblical times, and they said bringing religion into everything. you know, it's almost like that's my religion and I can do what I want. Sorry, just that genuinely is just like you dumb. I mean, I'm supposed to be nice here, but like that's just genuinely wrong. So it can't exist anywhere. So it would mean that you're being like discriminatory. So if nobody can talk about religion anywhere, then you're literally going against like the foundations of America, which is like one of our rights is to practice what we want. So that's something. It's so wild, and I just said, "Oh wow, it's almost like this is my show." Like it's not that hard of a concept. I do think nowadays I did kind of base them a bit more off of Jerry Mongo, Rumple Teaser, and who's anyone who's seen the Cats musical is I know Rumple Teaser, and then who's the other one? Anyway, I kind of based them like that. So I figured I would actually draw the people in the show who I've talked about but have not drawn yet, or it's not like in my current digital format, so I don't have like a file of like their reference sheet or something. So I think I came up with these two when I was listening to after seeing with my brother, the Alice by Heart musical. Um, I think it's hmm. I actually forgot what song. I know it. I know like it by heart, but I don't know the name of the song. It's the one with the caterpillar. Uh, so I think I might. I'll just dig for it in a minute. Also, I feel like I apologize to my mom, who's probably listened to this, for making them snakes. Uh, I think only recently, uh, I think we were doing like some housework, and my brother and I were out in the back, and my brother finds a snake, like a teeny tiny snake that kind of looks like a worm. Um, and I don't know why I said she. I was referring to my mom. My brother brings it up to her as she's just like sitting there painting, and he just tosses it at her. I expected him to just hold it up and be like, "Ooh," but he straight up just throws it at her, and she freaks out. Um, so I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. I I know we like to make fun of you for snake phobia, but that was mean. Eh, still gets scared by the Cats musical. At PMO when someone casually mentions the Bible or Jesus, and suddenly everyone's like, "Stop forcing your yeah." Not just mentioning it is not forcing the religion on you. Like I see comments of people saying like Allah to like the creator or something like that, and the creator isn't Muslim. Like just stuff like that. Like why can't the same thing apply? Is it because like we're like super hated because of people's bad like decisions? Like I thought we like all unanimously agreed that just because bad people exist in the community doesn't automatically make the entire community like evil. But I guess I'm just wrong. Also, I can't believe somebody genuinely said that my take was bordering on religious fundamentalism because I said that I didn't like how Hasbin Hotel portrayed my religion, bro. Again, people really make me question my job. I don't even know what that is. Like I kid you not. I don't even know what that word like what that means. And I'm just getting like accused by a random person who didn't like that I didn't like a show. So, yeah. Also, I feel like people get really freaked out whenever I draw um like nude characters, or not really. I don't really draw any nude characters. But like when I draw a character, and kind of like how I'm drawing her right now, um, like I don't like people always make it weird because these two, I want to say they're like, it's kind of like how in the Garden of Eden, like it's kind of like an evil version of that, because you know the human body is meant to be like beautiful and stuff like that, but they're evil, so it kind of makes it like a, you know, an opposing kind of viewpoint, which I just, I find that kind of fun to play with. The cat. Okay, so here's the Cats musical. Mm, here's the thing. I really love the 1986 version and how that looks. We do not speak of the movie. Because I had recently gone into a lot of musicals, like Into the Woods and stuff like that. I think Into the Woods is my favorite musical of all time. Um, but the Cats movie is bad. I can't. It's literally. It's just bad. Hazardtale always loses any battle outside their verse. Their magic system and just their system of everything just doesn't make sense. Even like the point of the show, which is that everyone is redeemable, which you could do without it being a adult, swearing every second kind of show. That's not a very hard thing to portray. Um, but they do it in just such an odd way. But then they also like demonize like the people that are apparently like I can't believe they take such a non-issue religion. Like, and people like say it's very problematic, but it's just the people misinterpreting it and then using that misinterpretation onto the world, in bad ways that the Bible does not support. Um, they just I feel like just taking a what people actually believe in and then turning it into an edgy show for people who clearly don't like us just to fuel that hatred that we're all evil and stuff like that. Indirectly or not, that's what you're saying, and that's why dealing with a show that takes place in a religious setting is such a, like a topic that you have to handle with care. She did not. She treated it like crap, and I think that's what really sucks here because there's so many cool, actually like helpful things to, that you can say that can actually like warm people up to that differences matter and that everyone is accepted. You just have to like that the redemption is a real thing. But no, um edgy people with drugs is cooler, I guess, and the creator making horrible jokes about characters and stuff, because that's fun. That's so fun. That's so great. I love how you portrayed our religion so well. Anyway, I'm getting so mad over this. Oh, hi, email. Hi, email. Ironic how the show is loosely based on Christian theology with the message everyone is redeemable but doesn't mention Jesus ever. Literally, that's like the whole reason any of us can go to heaven, but Broski was not ever brought up. Oh, and it's that and how they portray as God as like like a person that like isn't involved at all and has people just doing stuff for him and is wholly unaware, no pun intended, of the stuff going on around him, as if he's literally not the driving force behind everything and literally is here to help us and stuff. Like, I don't mean to like be all pushy and stuff like that, but this really is not a difficult thing to understand. Also, I feel like just there's a huge alarming amount of kids that are obsessed with that media. I mean, I feel like we literally just went through me getting a bunch of death threats and tagged in gory images of animals because I said I didn't like the show. Like I feel like this show does not help people be better people. Like if you want to have a show that's about redeeming, it doesn't really do well because also your fan base is disgusting for the most part. Like I feel like what good does the show teach? Because I feel like to me it just seems more as like an edgy fan piece for a woman to like just be edgy. That's fine. Edgy is great. Like being edgy is fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm literally edgy. But again, I don't see where this show actually does anything good. I mean, here's the thing. Even the people who used to be fans are just realizing, wait, this show actually as a concept isn't even that good. And it's the hype will die down at some point, but I just feel like you don't even have to be religious to realize that this is not a good show. Even just at its fun like its fundamentals, bro. Not every show has to have a moral, but it's harder to write a show that's good if you don't have a point to it. Anyway, that's my daily yapping. Don't focus on your art fight. Don't worry about me. Um I wouldn't say that every single person in the fandom is terrible. I think people can fall into the it looks really cool and the character designs are good looking somewhat. Um and that you can fall I like even I fell into that when I was younger and like the original thing came out and I wasn't that really in tune with myself and I was just kind of, into more alternative stuff. Um, I feel like it's pretty easy to fall into the rabbit hole of, ooh, that looks cool, and it feels like mature and edgy and stuff like that. And it has, look, I have two of the songs from the show. Actually, I think I only have one. I think it's literally just Sarah's Confession, which just because it's a really good song, um, and actually somewhat portrays religion well. We crazy, I know. Um, but other than that, I don't think. I mean, it's such good music for a not good show. I think the music is literally the only redeemable thing about it, and it has no place. It makes no sense to have a musical in this kind of show. Because I don't know, I feel like that's weirder than it not having a musical. But that might just be me. I don't know. I have not watched season two, and I haven't seen season one since I was like little, and I never ended up finishing it because, eh. So, mm. Hell Boss is worst, honestly. I feel like the yeah. Oh man, I watched it when it was popular because again, I was not very familiar with how bad it portrayed people, and just was really lost in myself and just trying to be edgy. But it's a million times worse. Oh. My mom is listening. I cannot ramble about annoying people like this for too long because it is not healthy for me. I need to not. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts. I feel like I need to change Hansel's hair. I feel like I have a every artist has their quirks. Kind of like how Busy Pops has really bad designs. I really just I have to stop myself from giving overly um like spiky hairstyles because I feel like it makes them all look the same, especially when I give them elf like long ears. So I think I'm gonna try and here I go doing the exact same thing. You know what? Screw it. There they are. I think Heathen is my favorite of the two, but it might just because I really like how I drew her arms and stuff. Also, I'm pretty sure someone actually corrected me on this because I could not find the original name of the weapon that I was referencing for these two. But somebody corrected me and it's a Roman scourge, which I think instead of the like bear trap esque thing that I was making from like memory, I'm gonna actually give them a proper Roman scourge. Um, sorry, Parker, that's my bad. Also, little tidbit to my mom. My mom loves Parker. She keeps asking me when I'm gonna draw the baby again, and I think I go through like the 5 stages of grief every time she asks. I'm just like internally cringing at my old self. It's not her. It's like just like, oh yeah, I forgot I made that. I forgot that's like the entire basis of my fan base because that's what I'm known for, even though I don't even really like it. I think it was just the fact that it was meant to be a one off, and I only ever made more videos because obviously I was just trying to grow my channel at that point. But that being what I'm known for, and what people are just like, oh, I know you from the video, and I'm just like, oh, yay! And people like be like, oh wow, he's so grown up, as if like he's the main character. He was never meant to be the main character, like ever. And it made me sad when I actually posted things I was really proud about for other characters that are the main character, which is would be Penny and Vanessa. Um, it just felt really sad seeing and everybody only care about the male character in the cast. Which I could talk about how like as society in fandoms, everyone is kind of really misogynistic and push aside the female characters, such as in like anime and stuff like that, just to favor the male characters. But we'd be here all day. So, Louise, your second most popular video is being crusty. Yeah. I forgot. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Anytime I make something I'm actually proud of, it never blows up. Ooh! Maybe really soft and curved, fluffy hair, but then it would just be Parker. I am not very varied with hairstyles, especially since these two are literally just I'm gonna be real with you. I think I originally wrote them like I feel like a few nights ago. I was just thinking about them, and I'm pretty sure I made them as like direct clones of Annalita and her husband, um, mixed with like other people like twins DNA. And so technically, they're just like direct copies of the people that Penny hates the most. So I think it's a torturous detail. Um, so because I think Annalita really wanted um her to be scary, and I think this was like her test drive before she started like experimenting on herself in pursuit of power. So I think I might change it to where it's Annalita and Parker because the dichotomy of how Penelope feels about both of them is very similar but very different. Because I think I've talked about this a little bit. Her the original whoever Penny would have been when she was first alive is not who she would be nowadays. I never knew. We'll never know who she would have been. But then after everything that she goes through, after she's, brought back to life, everything since then, nothing ever feels real, and all she really knows is just a desperate attempt to seek affection or just validation or any sort of human emotion. Because the most human emotions we all have is seeking validation or just attention or something, even in just indirectly. Like we all want someone to value us and look at us and see us. So I feel like her desperation for wanting to be seen by both her abusive dictator mother, um, and her the person she loves most in the world, or at least she thinks she does, because she doesn't really understand the concept of love or how to truly love somebody because she's never been shown it by her parents because dad's dead. But I feel like it's an odd thing and it's kind of torturous for her. So I think Annalita kind of figured that out and she's like, oh, so you're gonna like run away? Okay, here you go. Boom, and just like makes these two and just shoves them at her face. And I don't think Annalita ever really loved her. I think it was more just a power. I think she did at some point, but I think eventually when she was started given opportunities for her studies and her work as a doctor to bring someone back to life, even if it does mentally screw them up, so they're not really back to life. They're just a person. I think um it really did mess with her, and now she realized that she loved power more than she did her own daughter. Ugh. I love my character so much. I only found out about you when you made that video about the boys in your class calling each other good boy. It wasn't in class. I said in class, but I really was referencing my team because I do professional swim and I despise my teammates. Cause older boys in general are just really gross. Mm. Yeah, people did really reference the Homestuck thing, but I was trying to reference Narami and how she animates, so technically it would be Homestuck, even if I don't know a single thing about it. Like a Huska for former self. If I don't even think Penny was never old enough. I think she was like 4 or 5 when she died. So I don't think she ever really got to be a person. I think she's just different in every time that we see her because she never grew enough to be a person or to find herself. So now she's just kind of like switching between a million different people and trying to see what fits, but nothing feels real because she doesn't know who she is because she never got to figure out. So she's literally just a thing, like trying to do what she thinks is right because she still has humanity. I mean, she still was a person at some point. But trying to figure out your purpose and be a person when you don't even feel real and nothing around you feels real, it can be a lot. I did actually write a lot of this bit because I think especially after losing my dog, or just I would have moments, especially when I was a little bit younger and I was kind of, figuring out what mortality is. Um I would have these moments where I was just kind of out of it and starting to realize it's like the real gravity of like the concept of death and stuff. I was a really weird kid. I'm sorry. This is a lot. But I was a bit more mentally ahead of the rest of my peers and stuff like that. So I just kind of thought about things like that quite a bit because I'd already figured everything else out, for goodness sake. Um so just I feel like just attributing that feeling of just like existential dread and then putting it in a character really makes, like, since I've had that experience, it makes it a lot easier to like realize what that would feel like for somebody, and that makes writing Penelope way more like interesting for me because of that lived experience. uh, Hi Karu, how you doing? Do not bring out the critic. Do not. We cannot do that enough. Somebody already gave me $100. We're not doing this again. Listen to my to girly yap while I draw fan art. Oh, you dog. You know me so well. I have a question. What did you use for your Sona talk and stuff for lives? You can see it in the little corner. I use Prism Live. It's a mobile app. I don't know if it's on other things. I use it for mobile. There's 3 different things you can use. I think there's like one where you can just use your own screen and live stream from there, or there's one you can use for a video, which is just like make your own little setup and then like have like you can record that separately. It's not a live stream, but you can use that for like a video. And then there's the uh I think it's the stream thing, and you can change it. You can go and you have to poke around a little bit and experiment with stuff, but I managed to just make all my assets, like find them on like Pinterest or something like that, and add them, and then just um, overlay it with scene editing, and then boom. It's a bit hard to figure out. You know what I'm working on? No, 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 no. This. I had trouble sleeping due to fireworks. I didn't hear any, but also that might just because I've slept through like multiple fire alarms before. So, how many characters do you have as a whole? That's a tough question because I would like to think of it as like Carmen Sandiego, where there's like 4 main characters, and then you have like a bunch of side characters where they interact. Some of them are one-offs. Like I feel like Heather and Heaven, um, Hansel and Heathen are like gonna be like 1 or 2 off characters because they're introduced pretty early to kind of cement like how gruesome everything is gonna be for the rest of the show. And I think they'll come back later in the show just kind of as like a callback. but I don't think there's too many. I mean, there's obviously like characters that you meet for a little bit, but then you know die. Like the experiments I've shown in old videos. Sorry to anyone that were fans of those, but they don't last very long. Um, but you know, I think one I keep forgetting to mention is actually a really interesting one. Is so there. So when the group migrates to America and they're kind of struggling to find a job. Um, I know that scared people, unemployed. But there's this cute little girl that's based off of a squirrel, and she is a fashion designer. I actually made this when I was a little bit younger, and she was meant to be my persona shortly before I switched to um my current one, just because it was pretty hard to draw a squirrel and I didn't know how to draw a squirrel. But I decided I think I can remake her right now, but my whole thing is she lives with them and that's how they get their clothing that you see in all my drawings, just because they work for her and help her make clothes sometimes, or just like live in the shop and help pay rent. So I think instead of making her like a I think I made her a model in like the OG one that also makes clothes. But then when adding her as a little fun little character to the current story, I think I'm gonna make her like an old like retired model, or that makes clothes for models. Um, because I think I don't have enough old characters in here, so I want to make her like like a mainly animal. But then I realize like I'm not beating the furry allegations. I'm nothing like a furry, but people will like see any like person that's like semi-human, semi-animal, because I guess anthropomorphic characters can't exist without you being a furry for some reason. Like it's not like storytelling is a thing. Um, but she's looking more like a hamster. I have not drawn a squirrel in my life, bruh. Should I just turn her into a hamster? I have no idea. I don't know what to do. I think I may go the hamster route. Playing with sharp angles and round angles because that's cool. A little Gma cut. What if I do like the little pearls? I just wanted to be a little gal, and they like whenever they're exploring the shops, they just like trip over her. I feel like that'd be cute. I don't know if I know this. I love grandmas. Like I love old people because they're always like really sweet. I remember I went to, because we're in the middle of moving, and we kind of went to the store to get more supplies, and we're kind of in a heat wave right now. That like all of America is at this point. Um, and so while we were walking in, there's this like I'm like 5'10". This short little lady who walks in. She's like, she looks at us. She's like, "Oh boys, it's hot outside, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." Oh, like I don't know. There's just something about this so quaint, so cute. Just something about that is always so adorable to me. Besides, I've always wanted to add a bit more varying body types because I feel like I get a bit bored drawing the same buff body type. That might just because it's my own, and I get a bit. I don't know how to do other body types that well. Working on it. Also, I think someone once said that like called another character. I think someone called me like racist because I didn't because my black characters have straight hair. And first of all, Penelope is Blasian. I feel like I have to clarify that. She's not African American or anything like that. I think obviously Sunday is, but again, as I said, his is more like akin to the like what happens when you're out of your culture and don't learn anything about it for so long, because I thought that was an interesting, little thing to work with story-wise. Um, but no, Penny's just Blasian, and her mom has extremely short, like straight hair, so it just kind of blends over. She has two A curls, I'm pretty sure, is what I wrote her with. So she does have curls, but she also just opts to get it straightened because her mom like straightens it for her, and also she's a doll, so she now has like permanently straight hair because her mom said so. So I figured that was something I wanted to mention before I get those kind of comments. I'm not like doing like the indirect like, oh, I'm just making an excuse not to do it. I've drawn multiple characters with curly hair before of different varieties. I just, you know, I just felt like it didn't make sense if I wanted to keep things in character, and also just I think I took a lot of inspiration for Penelope with blonde hair because I saw a post of like showing people in I think Oceania. Get out, you chud! Oh, sorry. I thought you were just like barging in to be mean.
No.
What the heck are those?
Keychains.
Oh, sorry. Uh, what? Oh, can you pray for my uncle who has bladder cancer? Sure. I don't know what I would say on camera. I didn't expect to get that kind of comment. Do you want to do it with me? I'm not used to that.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the issue?
Apparently, he said pray for my uncle who has bladder cancer. Yeah.
Dear Heavenly Father, we want to pray for.
Mr. Doctor Dude.
We want to pray for his uncle. He is fighting his battle with cancer. She like pregnant?
Ah, great timing.
God understands. Please put your healing hands on him. Help him on this battle with cancer. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Sorry, you guys can do that in the background. Aw, mama. Someone said you seem sweet. That's nice. She is. Much nicer than I am about certain things. Mama says thank you. Okay. Time to get back on track. I couldn't. The thing I was a bit hesitant about praying with is the fact I couldn't tell if the comment was being serious or not. I might have just alienated half of you guys because we just prayed, but I think that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Anyway, back on track. I feel like just having her be a little lady, a little shopkeeper who makes little dresses, and I think she definitely took very kindly to Penelope because I like to imagine that when they walk into her store or they're like invited into her store to live there and work there, um she only made like tiny little Victorian-esque dresses, and Penelope walks in there and she like has the alternative like scene fashion that I gave her. And I think she takes really kindly to it, and she kind of asks her a bunch of questions and stuff, and she ends up making her scene clothing once she learns more about the aesthetic. And I think writing that kind of dynamic is really cute. Uh, the mother figure she never had. Too bad she only lasts like 2 seasons. I'm gonna leave this after. I'm gonna leave it saying this, but I'm aware that I'm not welcome here. But I'm sorry for harassing you. Oh no, you're good. You'll not continue. No, dude, you're fine here. I don't know what gave you that impression. I think I think you're talking about the original thing. It's fine. As I said, I was just kind of caught off guard because I'd never gotten a comment like that. But dude, no, of course not. You're forgiven. There's literally no ill will here. You're good. I've forgiven people for a lot more. You're good. It is. I completely get it. It's a very easy world to just be upset and just tell somebody. And honestly, I feel really bad for you in your situation you're in. I've been there. There is absolutely no sweat about it. Don't worry about it. You're welcome here anytime. Please don't take this the wrong way, but you remind me of Koma-san from Yokai Watch. Am I gonna have to look that up? Hmm. Also, I didn't even look at the stash of high chews my brother just threw onto my desk. Oh, he gave me a blue raspberry and blue Hawaii. You dog. You know me so well. My oldest brother. I don't know if you guys have seen the drawing I made, but he's the little wizard guy. He just gave me a bunch of blue raspberry high chews. I might have to take out my retainers for this. I think I freaked a bunch of people out when doing that because I have clear retainers. So I think I was at practice and I pop off my retainer because it was making me uncomfortable. And just a bunch of kids were kind of just staring at me like I just grew a second head. So here's some ASMR, I guess. Plastic. Purple Sable is different from the person that asked you to pray. Yeah, no. I remember purple. I'm a little bit sad that they feel they shouldn't comment because they're welcome anytime. I believe for those who aren't aware, they had vented in a previous stream, which I was initially uncomfortable with, but after just thinking about it for some time, no, I don't really mind it. You're completely forgiven. Don't ever feel like you have to worry about it for too long. Even if I seem uncomfortable with it, you're always forgiven. Like if somebody like cursed me out and then like the next day they came back and gave a genuine apology, it would take me some time, but like I would forgive them. That's just normal courtesy because I would expect somebody to forgive me. Everyone makes mistakes. It was just literally just a tiny mistake, just not reading the room properly, but also they were hurting, and I completely empathize with that. So anytime, always welcome. Is her name Annalita? No. Mm-mm. Nuh-uh. I actually don't know what to name her. Actually, that's a good thing. Look, be glad you didn't have to deal with herps or whatever it's called because it's a device they put in your mouth to fix jaw alignment. Well, here's the thing. I got rubber bands. They put rubber bands in my mouth to keep my jaw because I had an overbite as well. I still do. It didn't fix anything. You forgive me for glonk reproduction? Mm, mm. So people who are unaware of what that means, I had a stream where I watched old Mason Digital Circus episodes that I had not seen before. And one of them, uh, my moderator Goose had said glonk reproduction, and I didn't know what that meant. It literally was just a random thing, and I didn't know what the context was. So I had like this really like odd cut off scream where I just said what. I think I might post it at some point because I think it's funny, but yeah, I do the rubber bands for after the herps. I had a pretty bad overbite because I used to grind my teeth as a kid, and I am a chronic mouth open sleeper, even if I try to fix it. But I might name her after my grandma. Hold up. Or should I make her French? I know the French are good at fashion designs, I think. Just not to stereotype, but I thought it'd be funny. You're French now. Fun little fact, I don't like British people. Your accents annoy me. How dare you put beans on toast, you disgusting heathen. I'm glad we threw your tea in the water. That's a joke, by the way. Have a good day. Um, Mrs. May. It's Sally May. I don't know that was like when you think of like Southern grandma names, that one seems very clear. It's a Southern grandma name. Chaotic, weren't you a moderator or am I insane? I don't believe I remember making them moderator. I haven't taken away anyone's moderation yet. Yet. So I don't think they ever would have been one. English people are the ones who have been with the beans and the tea. British. You Brits. People just being mean. I just got like a weird. Sometimes can't tell if someone's like being mean or if they're just being. Mm. Clouded leopards. Never. I don't think I've ever. I've seen very few animals in person. I love going to the zoo, but I barely ever go. It's always the same animals, but I tell you, one of these days I look, here's the thing. I know people like to joke that like, oh, Australia is so dangerous, and it is, but I would sooner go to Australia in a heartbeat than I would ever step in Africa just because as deadly or like poisonous as as the animals in Australia are, they're not nearly as common. Well, I wouldn't say nearly as common, but they're not usually that big of an issue to where I couldn't survive. But if I was with people in like if you put me against any animal in Australia, I have a better likely chance of surviving than you put me up with an animal in Africa. All the animals there are gorgeous, and I actually love watching the get ready with me's with people that are in traditional African tribes and learning about how they have like their customs and stuff like that. But it's gorgeous there. And I really appreciate the culture, but I would never go because I am a scaredy cat. Now, on the other hand, I would go to Australia just because there's so many like non-threatening, really interesting looking things. But also, I would not go anywhere near the water because of stonefish, and stonefish scare me, and the ocean scares me, and I hate the ocean. Have you ever seen a group of kangaroos hopping across the water? Yeah, there's an actual like they don't hop across the water. I think this was explained in an animal video where I watched it. There's things called sandbars, and if you're not familiar with that, it's literally just so imagine the ocean, and then there's like sand that is like has been built up in a certain area long enough for it to become like a small structure, like to walk across. It's really shallow towards the water compared to the rest of the sand that's like down here. So the ruse they they hop along here on this little sandbar instead of actually going on water because that's physically impossible unless you're a basilisk because you would have to be really extremely light to even just graze the water without falling in. Anyway, how do you feel about the Beatles? This is a complicated topic. I don't hate them, but people ruined it for me. I was never that huge into the Beatles, even as a 60s music fan. I was more into Leslie Gore and like things like Frank Sinatra and stuff like that. But one person I met not that long ago has ruined it for me, and that is you guys have not unlocked that lore yet. So how's your OC talking with an animation? So here's the thing. I think this is actually a great time to explain how PNG tubers work. Also, I'm making a PNG tuber for Karu. Spoiler alert. Um, if I go to, by the way, my nickname for Louise was Garabato, which is Spanish for doodle because that's originally what they looked like before I added color and they changed name to Louise. Here is the one I'm using currently. So how it works, or at least how the most basic minimum of PNG tubers work, is you have your base, which I usually start with either a closed mouth or an open mouth. I think open is easier because then you can just color over it to make it a closed mouth. And I finish the rendering like that for the most part. And then I have a separate eye closing thing. I just essentially just take this image, I color over it strategically so that it's like, um, covering it without actually making it look too weird. And I add an eye closing thing, and then I have a separate thing with a mouth close. So what you need for a PNG tuber is literally just four things. You need one that has an open eye, closed mouth, open mouth, hold up, open mouth, closed eye, closed mouth, open eye, closed mouth, closed eye. Because at least in the program I use, it occasionally has my character blinking. And for that to happen, you have to have a certain thing. Essentially, it's just an open and closed mouth PNG, but then also you have separate ones for each of those that have a closed eye. Literally, you can make a stick man with this formula, and it'll work just fine. It's not nearly as complicated. Now, when you want to add more expressions is when it gets more complicated, but that's just if you want to do more advanced stuff. I don't particularly need it. So, but I don't know how to stream or make videos. That's a bit more of a nuanced topic. Um, Literally, you have to just have some kind of understanding how layout works. And also just again, if you're a new person starting out, I would suggest Prism Live. Uh, though it's I don't know anything about doing anything other than a PNG tuber or how that would work or streaming my screen. So that's just that you'd have to look at other things for that because I don't know. I think I'm gonna finish this because it's still summer for me. Mm. Sorry, I'm trying to swallow a haichu. Um, Cosmic, if you can, car screaming for Sunday. Um, do you have to add the layout, or can you just leave it with the screen share without the layout? Technically you can. You can just have your screen recording and not add anything with the scene editing feature, but I choose to add my stuff just because I think it's cuter and it just feels more professional. But that it literally you can do whatever. Um, Alpha Wolf ripping shirt image. Don't. I haven't tried the blue Hawaii one. Um, where's my baby? I don't know who that is. I have 3 videos made. One of them are the twin of the carousel trend. Bruh. I really want to make that, but I just feel like I'm too late on the trend to do so. So I keep the thing about that is just I just keep getting really scared to start, so I end up not starting. What inspired you to make Vanessa? I'm gonna be so real with you. She was completely different when I first made her. So I'm gonna go through like the stages and stuff because she originally was based off of the Box Bunny character from the Bunny Graveyard. If you know that, that is like elite ball knowledge. Um, and her early design, like, very definitely shows that she looks nothing like that. But she started out with the black bunny ears, and just as time went on, I got more annoyed with them, so I ended up shortening them, and that's how we get her current ears. I don't know what specifically spurred me to change, like to make this specifically look like wings. Um, I cannot tell you that because I just don't remember. I think my biggest inspirations for her would be like Cassandra from Tangled the series, Catra, stuff like that. As I said earlier, Wolf from Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, which is a goated show. I'm so glad it got. I'm so like mad it got taken off of Netflix. Um, just certain characters like that have like the tough exterior and like are definitely a bit more like complicated as characters. I think you can maybe say she took a bit of inspiration from Jax just because I was making these characters around the same time it first started, but I wouldn't really say that because they're nothing alike. I think just also from personal experience because I think she does take a lot. She was definitely my like venting of frustration, so she can definitely see she's a bit more like how I used to be, probably less than a year ago, and I'm still kind of like her. Um, you can definitely see she's my favorite when it comes to just aesthetics, but I also think Penny is my second favorite when it comes to just plain drawing people. So I did give her semi my physique. I'm not nearly as buff as she is, but I did give her a lot of my tomboyish traits that I got when I was growing up. So I don't know. She's a mixed bag of like every single media piece I've seen. I mean, all of them are. They fit into their own specific archetypes of just who like their basic at their most bare bones level what their traits are. But dude, the Tangle series is actually peak. Oh! Hot take, I couldn't stand Lance. I couldn't I can't I'm not really ever a big fan of the token black character being a, you know, dumb uh funny guy that's only there for comedy and doesn't really have much more nuance than that. I mean, I get it is a kids show, so there's not every one of them is going to be super nuanced, but I just don't find those kind of characters funny. Like I didn't like it either when it was in the Percy Jackson movie with Grover being just the funny one-off black character funny guy. I don't find that funny. Most of the time those kind of the jokes that they put with those kind of characters just aren't my humor. So Lance was so stupid. I don't know why they added him. And the fact they tried to play off the whole like, oh, Flynn Rider knew him as a child, and that's how they know each other. I'm like, no, they didn't. You guys are just making people up out of thin air. At least Cassandra makes sense because she was brought in after the events of the movie, but you trying to say that Lance existed before the movie is stupid. The Bunny Graveyard, bruh. The Bunny Graveyard is not given enough love. Louise question: in the context of an Eldritch entity, what do you think is scarier, chains or tentacles? Hmm. Neither. I actually don't find either of those really scary, which I think is a big reason why you don't really see tentacles or like stereotypically scary things. I definitely did grow up with more analog horror or just stuff like that, so I think my horror reflects that. But I never find those scary. Like I never found Slenderman scary. I think tentacles make you look stupid. That's just my personal take. Ugh. I think movies like um Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the OG one, like had that bit more uncanny, scary feeling that I find is a bit more like scary. I think the Backrooms movie with Captain Clark, I think that's a bit more akin to what I would find as scary, just because it's human, but it's slightly wrong. I think when you can work with that, because the human mind is trained to see to recognize things as humans, whether it's just the drawings we see, like how like what I'm making, because these look like roughly human to us. I think But just seeing something that looks human but looks uncannily wrong is something that is way scarier than some entity with tentacles. Does not Hornet here? I can't read. His name is Hornet. Horton here's a who count as Eldritch Being though? I wouldn't say so, because I mean we're all microscopic to some level. So I mean I think it's just a thing. It's not really a god that's like controlling the universe, so I wouldn't really consider that Eldritch anyway. Is Sunday an OC or an AU? Because when I saw the name, I thought my OC Friday. Um, no, he's a character. He's been here since like I think I have like really old drawings of him before he was his everyone's design were like drastically changed back in like 2023 of him in my sketchbook. He used to look like a huge flower. He had like a flower like rim, and he was more goat based, but now he's more sheep based. Um, but no, he's been here like the whole time. I mean, he's literally was one of the first inceptions. Parker is the newest character when you think of like the main cast. Your hand hurts from pressing the hearts, bro. It's you don't have to. Even Flynn was portrayed as dumb. Well, the thing is, Flynn was always like the charismatic, slightly, like quirky guy. I do think they did make him a little bit dumb, but I think that's just the effect of being in a kids show more than actually a portrayal of the real character. Mm. Yeah, watching the anime. I don't think so. I'm never really a big fan of anime. I did like the summer Hikaru died though. And I did really like I think my one of my first genuine introductions to anime that I actually watched on my own, like without like my brothers watching it, was The Promised Neverland, which you can probably see that influence in here as well, because that did stick with me and I loved it. I still love it to this day. Um, I think that, but when you're talking about like my younger years, I did kind of like sit in occasionally when my brothers watched Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or Fairy Tale. If any of you guys saw Fairy Tale when you were in like back when it was popular, dear God, tell me because I need to know that wasn't just like a fever dream. That was such a weird thing to watch for me. Um, remember watching this video as a kid where they edited a silhouette of Cthulhu knocking down a building in Chicago and it scared the crap out of me? I don't know. I never. One thing I used to do with my friends back in elementary school, um, jerks, um, is we would sit on the bus and one of us had our phones. I think it was our mutual friend. It was me, and then it was a little annoying blonde girl that I can't stand to this day. And then it was our mutual friend who actually I took a bit of inspiration from Vanessa for. She would have her phone and we would watch those like VR YouTube videos, like those horror VR YouTube videos where there's like jump scares and everything, and that's what we did. So I built up a tolerance from a very young age. Hello, this is my very first live stream I ever joined. Question: what fandoms are you a part of? Here are mine. I don't Lego Monkey Kid, bro, that is a core memory for me. I'm never giving that fandom up, broski. I cannot. I think a lot of inspiration for MK went into Parker as well. I think a lot of May went into Penny. Bruh. What oh I cannot tell you how much I gush over that show. You ever heard of the game Unbeatable? No. What fandoms are you part of? Jeez. I wanna say I was gonna pull up like my list like on my really old DeviantArt because I listed all of my fandoms, but I can't say I remember. I have way too many. If I wasn't drawing your man right now, I'd be drawing Sunday. My man. Which OC would you say had it the worst? Penny. Hands down. Because at least the other ones don't remember what happened to them in their past lives, while she literally has to deal with cancer and live through hundreds of years while grappling with the gravity that you are not human and you will never be human. And you'll only ever suffer eternal pain because you don't know who you are and your psyche is so shattered. It's worse than Ford Cruller, for goodness sake. Like, it's a lot. She's gone through way more, especially psychological damage, compared to the other two, or other three. Also, I feel like when it comes to a monster's face opening up, like instead of a mouth with a bunch of teeth, it'd be scary if it's just straight up void of nothingness. So that's actually a pretty interesting thing, because I used to watch a lot of scary short films. Maybe I should get to drawing, for goodness sake. One of the scariest ones for me, but this mostly just because I'm a little bit biased, because I love like biblical horror, was the short film The Painting of God, which was about a film about of a student having to do a presentation on this like famous painting called The Painting of God, I'm pretty sure. Um and the thing is, some people, it looks just like a painting of just plain black, and it literally looked like nothing. But she had interview clips of people who said that they saw eyes and it was so beautiful, and it was nothing like they've ever seen. And she is playing the like her slideshow with the painting of God on her like projector. I think wait, what if I like just stop this and like I play it? Because this is actually like so interesting. I can't even. You know what? You know what? Screw it. This is my stream. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Holy shit, that's a cool picture.
That is, oh my gosh, none of y'all heard that. Um, I did not know that would play that loud. You have a Tamagotchi island, and if so, who would you have on your island? I'd have all my OCs, and then any of the characters my brother wanted on it. I got scared of Fairy Tail when I was younger. Bro, we don't talk about that. It was Fairy Tail, Tail, I'm pretty sure. Have you ever watched The Silent Voice? No. If I had Tomodachi Life, probably my OC and Twist characters, I would too. I've missed so many comments. The Making a Mandela catalog movie, good. Do you have your reference of your cane Sona thing? I don't have any reference sheets, to be so real with you. Um, but I literally just looked it up. I'm stupid. So, here we go. I didn't know, like, in fairness, I didn't know that they would curse. I literally was just listening to Minecraft in the background. I didn't know they would curse. I love this film so much, bro. Word. I eat dirt. What's your favorite dirt flavor? Plant soil. Do you have any fictional crushes? Way too many. Leona. It's just 7 minutes. It won't take too long. I'll put it on one, two point.
I'm going to show you a painting, or rather, a photograph of a painting. Just take a moment and stare at it. What do you see?
Nothing.
If the answer is nothing, if it just looks black to you, don't worry, that's what I see too. But that's not what everyone sees. The painting I've chosen for this project is titled Portrait of God. While most viewers see nothing, some insist they see a person in the darkness, one that they can describe and draw out with consistent details.
It's a man, or close to a man.
Wrinkled, skinny.
Really skinny.
He looks skinny.
He's smiling.
He's grinning. He smiles down at us.
Almost looks like the corners of his mouth got smudged.
So he's wearing a mask.
It's too wide. But his eyes,
Looking
I have that same necklace. Let's go.
big.
They're big.
they've got this glint in them.
Speckle of light in them.
Honestly, it's unsettling.
Of course it's frightening. That kind of power should be.
I don't like looking at it. I don't like it.
It's beautiful.
Multiple characters that
Maybe
taste
it's
blood.
just a trick of the light.
To answer your
Maybe
question,
they're
John.
seeing something they want to see. But how are their descriptions so consistent? Maybe they really are having a religious experience.
Word.
And why does God appear to them and not us?
Maybe because it's not God. I don't know. Just a theory. Again, dude. Okay, no. I'm a chud. I'm a chud.
What does
Random thing, but doing this in a black in a like nighttime, I'm assuming, auditorium. Why won't you be doing this to your friends? This is you're asking for it. Like this is this is oh. I'll take a second to answer some questions from chat because I'm sorry. What's your favorite character over every other one of your favorite characters? Probably My Melody. I have the most merch of her, so I guess that would. I'm deeply obsessed with it to the point that it's probably unhealthy. So, OC question: if any of your OCs besides Sunday obviously tasted blood that isn't their own, I'm glad that you remembered that Sunday is a cult leader. I would say mostly all of them because I guess if we're talking technicalities here, all of them because they've all gone crazy in different timelines. But
God look like? I'm going to show you a painting, or rather, a photograph of a painting. Just take a moment and stare at it.
we were talking about Eldritch Horror, so I figured I would show you the best one. Goat. All my lights are turned off. I'm getting scared. It's also like raining outside, so I hate it. Oh no! Okay, thank you. If my mom is watching, I'm so sorry. There you go. Because it's not God. Ooh, girl. Hi, Sable. Oh no! Oh no! It's the king in yellow. Shut up. This is what gets me, y'all. Oh. No, you're good, Purple. I don't know if you should stay subscribe to that person because they're just not a great person. I can't control you, obviously, but oh, loud! That's horrifying. Exactly. I don't care about like paranormal ghosts or nothing. This is what gets me. There's no gore, there's no creepy chase scene. This is it. I'm sorry if I'm like creeping out any new viewers. Wait, what is this? This is The Portrait of God. It's a short horror film, and we're just watching it because you're talking about Eldritch Horror earlier, and someone asked me what my favorite kind of thing was, so. Dear Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name. Who art in heaven. Crap, I forgot the words! I forgot the words! This. So when they brought up just a ball of nothingness being there instead of creepy teeth, this is what I think of. I'm new and low-key like crap myself, I'm sorry. Girl, I'm terrified. I'm sorry. Okay, that's it. We're done. Sorry to creep everyone out. So that's the kind of horror I take inspo from. The angel in episode 3. Yeah. Sorry, I gotta turn my thing down because in order for my mic to work, I have to plug it in and my battery is low. The dude looks like Verity. I have no idea what that means or who that is. But thank you. I just gave all you nightmares tonight. I hope you're very happy with me. Please don't unsubscribe. But I feel like films like that are way more of an impactful, scary, like, creature than something like Annabelle. Now, don't get me wrong, I ain't messing with Annabelle. Because here's the thing, I've said this before, I don't believe in ghosts. I feel like the concept of a soul being trapped in on Earth, as just, but also the fact that like you, people that say that like, oh, angels and like demons can exist but also ghosts is kind of contradictory, because that would imply that there's limbo and not, the thing that we know as heaven and hell. So I feel like it's either one or the other in my head, but I do believe in demons, 100%. And stuff like that gets me way more than just like, ooh, haunted ghost, creepy, like, again, that's just my personal thing. You guys can, I don't know if you guys have any differing opinions, but I don't know. It's also like raining outside my window. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let me see if I can put it against the window. I don't know if that picked it up. Um, he looks at the creature on the One Life of Luxury video. If the video was actually good, look, I'll give them credit for having like really good practical effects, like having little to no like CGI or something. That's extremely like stupidly impressive. I can't take it genuinely seriously. I don't think it was ever meant to be taken seriously. Just because of just like the formula and just it's really funny in like a stupid kind of way, but I still really like it. So to focus back on timeline, because I feel like this is a bit important to talk about, the first season doesn't really consist of much. I mean, not like anything like what it gets towards the end, where they're like, fighting and people die and stuff like that. But it focuses around them evading, obviously, Annalita, because were never given permission to leave. I don't think anyone ever fled with permission to leave, but they it's mostly just them trying to find a job, but also evading the police. Because if anyone's read the Wattpad that was sadly discontinued because I do not have the energy for it anymore, uh, it they also like killed a bunch of people on a train after being attacked from a hate crime. Because I don't know if I think I mentioned this a long time ago. OGs will know this. There is a slur for experiments, or at least the people that we know as experiments. I don't know if there's an actual like name I want to give them. I wouldn't say mutants, because it's not freaking Ninja Turtles. But anyway, there is a slur, and they were hate crimed early on in the story, and so um, when being reported to the police after attacking the people that tried to attack them in the night while they were asleep, uh, Vanessa Loki just blew up a train. I'm so real with you. Um, so that's that. So now they're on the run from not only their captor, they're also on the run from the police. So that's where they're just kind of having odd jobs. Vanessa makes the most for them in the early stages because she works as like an underground ring boxer, uh, and absolutely freaking dominates because boom shakalaka. um, but but after getting busted and then having to bust Vanessa out of jail, they go to live with the sweet little squirrel lady Sally Mae, and so that's where they get there. But then they receive word that like um Vinny is going to die if they don't return. So Vanessa decides to go on her own, um, while the others have to deal with the fact that like then they figure out it's a trap, and then that's where like the credit ends. Um, Actually, no, there's a lot more, but I just that's like again like when it comes to just the main characters and not focusing on anything else, that's kind of just what they do. Because I feel like the first season focused a lot more on Annalita's point of view during all of this, and then just like some sweet character moments to kind of just establish everyone's like relationship with each other. And then the second season has I kind of took a little bit of Stranger Things on this, as much as the show sucks. Um, where she's just kind of like kidnapped and like tortured for information. And this is where the eye patch comes in. So you can, if OGs might see that some art of her has her with two different colored eyes, specifically with the multiple pupils thing, and some of them do not. Yeah, that's because in the second season, when she's kidnapped, it got a bit more gruesome than just a dark sclera. But if anyone has seen the prequel to the Dark Crystal, which is the Age of Resistance, or I think it might be in the actual movie too, um, with the eye-eating bug, the peeper beetle. Yeah, she essentially gets that, but instead of something that just eats your eye, it essentially overtook her eye. So now she essentially has like two people speaking in her head, which does not help later on in the show, because she generally goes through like schizophrenic episodes, you know, as people normally would when you're going insane. Um, so that's the thing, and that's what she that essentially helps a little bit because now she has like extra sense because you're thinking with two people in your head. um so this little drawing I'm making here for Summer is takes place shortly after season 2, after she's busted out and they wound and like blow up a bunch of buildings in her headquarters and essentially wound Annalita for a little while so she doesn't come back as much. And this is where they find out that all of their siblings are dead. That's nice. Um, so, and then they have to go back and they essentially have to. This is when they decide to work with the police because the police find out what they've done and then decide that the military needs their help. And then this is where they essentially focus towards working in the military and then occasionally visit Sally Mae. I think I really love Sally Mae, to be honest, because she does work as, a mother figure to everybody. In a time where they don't really have any good parental figures. I do think the cutest thing that I wrote for them before I even like designed Sally was that obviously Sunday has psychopathic tendencies, which are not entirely his fault. Um, and she kind of just helps him, like grow and like try to be a bit more empathic to the creatures and like people around him because he does kind of lose like empathy. Um, like for most things and just is not really focused on like what others are thinking, like what's important to other people. um so he does kind of regain his moral compass. And then season 3, after like semi halfway into the story, she gets killed off, which screws up like everything. So yay, you should make comics. I've tried to in the past, but they're just way too physically exhausting for me to do on my own. So again, that's why this is like a proof of concept show more than just that. I love King or Old Man. I don't like Jack. Jack's never liked him. I don't like him anymore. What's your favorite digital circus character? I think I've said it, Pomni. I've always liked her. Splints. Nobody curbs not me. Get him out. Get him out, boys. Get him out. That's beautiful, Katie. Oh, Jima.
Are you packing some stuff?
No, Dad. It's almost like we've been packing for 4 days straight. I've already packed a lot today. Almost like that's a thing. It's not like we're leaving for about 25 days. Oh, it is storming outside. I might disconnect. That's nice. It's almost like this is my job. Why do you not like Jax, to be honest? Because looking back on everything, look, you can have deeply complex characters and have them be flawed and be evil and still somewhat be likable or sympathetic. But to be honest, I don't see anything that I like about Jax, or even like find sympathetic. Like I get there's like the whole like, oh, they might be trans plot line, but I don't really care for that. But I'm talking about like their actions. Jax's actions are they've done this to them. He's done this to himself. Every bad thing that happens to him is literally just his fault. Don't come after me. Goose said you can call him by both. So he was never confirmed in the show. It's just a fun little side thing that she made. So I'm just gonna still call him Jax because it's Jax. So gets thrown to the void. Where are you moving to? I'm not gonna say at the moment. I'm just moving up north because I live in the south currently. So just realized you like Genshin Impact and Cookie Run Kingdom. Yes, I do. I'm not really in Genshin as much anymore, just because I haven't played in a long time. Just because it's such a difficult game to play. Like it's not like a hard game to play, but the quests and stuff just is so complicated, and like you run out of coins and stuff like really easily, and it's just hard to grind for items. So I haven't really been in, but I'm still really love the characters. I played up until Notland, I'm pretty sure. No, I played Notland, but I didn't play Nordcry. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not very good at pronunciation. Nordcry, something like that. Nordcray. I don't know. But I stopped playing at that point just because again the quest just became too time consuming for me, and it felt like we had more puzzles than we did actually story stuff. So boy, did Louise just say Limbus Company? No, I did not. I thought the big thunder was you farting. No, I have like Thundercrack, which is so good because it's been a heat wave. So how do you feel about Cookie Run Kingdom using AI? I hate it, but honestly, I'm not mad at DevSys for that because DevSys has no control. Their company that owns them, Tencent, is the one like that's pushing the AI and the stealing of other designs and stuff like that. I don't. I think pushing all the blame onto DevSys is stupid, but yeah, I definitely don't like it. I don't like that Tencent is, destroying such a great game for something so stupid when they have an entire big multi-billion-dollar company. Like, ugh. I don't think black people were mad that Bruno Mars is dead. People were mad that because it's a song about a black man seeing his daughter for the first time. But also, I think it can be recontextualized and it doesn't like suddenly change the meaning of the OG song. But I'm a little white girl, so I can't speak. I mean, I can, but it would probably be in poor taste. Or yeah. Um, get more we get more wanderer screen time. Oh no. Okay, never mind. I'll play the game again. I thought of more fandoms I'm part of. I don't know Gravity Falls. Sky. I do play that. Knights of Guinevere. Yep. Lackadaisy. Eh. Project Moon reference. I don't know. I would donate money, but I'm po. That's fine. You don't. It's no obligation. Ugh, my like throat hurts. Were the high chews laced? What the heck? Speaking of another high chew. I think it's like the angle I've been talking at, and then also like swallowing uh candy juice. That like damages your throat. So open sesame. Thank you. Funnily enough, Annalita was never a character to begin with. You want to know something? Because again, in the in the really really like I want to say like 2023 developments, I originally had it where Penny had like multiple versions of herself that she would meet, kind of similar to a scene I've written for the modern script right now. But Annalita was essentially just a blue-haired version of her, but was like older and a bit more angsty, and had a boyfriend that was like squid themed, and he had dark skin and dreads, which is essentially, and that kind of stayed because her dad still to today is dark, and I didn't know that that would actually correlate, but it's cute. And eventually, just slowly as time went on, I was like, "What if this is her sister?" And then it kind of just slowly morphed into, "What if this is her mom?" And you can see the blue hair reference because she used to have blue hair in some videos. So, mm, you unpacking something? I was unpacking my haichu, my blue raspberry haichu. Gravity Falls was just, it's never going to be my thing. It's just not some, I did start watching it with a family friend, but it's just not my thing. And that's fine. I like everybody who's like, I have no problem if you like it. It seems like a really good show, but it's just not my show. Moose the goose. Goose. Manili. Anyone here see Scooby Doo Mr. Incorporated? Yes. It was good. I just wish that the whole plot wasn't just Scooby Doo is an ancestral god. That's not even really close to what it actually is, but I think just thinking about it that way is funny. Like Tower of Hell. Played it a few times when it was really popular, but eh. We support opinions. Yes, we do, we do, we do. We also support Vanessa. Also, the amount of people that have like said like, I'm looking at John. Many people that said like, "OMG, your characters make me gay," is genuinely insane. Like, I know I make my characters like technically conventionally pretty, but I don't do it with the intent of like thirst trapping. At least not unless it's for me, because Leona. But that it was definitely an experience. My mom actually got one of my old videos where people were thirsting over my Sona at the time when I did not clarify that I was a girl. And so that was an awkward experience, especially since it was in the car. That was fun. That was fun. I love my life. This is great. Do I watch Steven Universe? Yeah, Steven Universe. Steven Universe actually did a lot. I'm pretty sure I made Vanessa's like, I think I based her voice and how she would speak off of Pearl, who is also Filipino. So I thought that was a really cool thing, especially since they act a lot alike. Um, Vanessa's just not as like warmer motherly. She just straight up would. She's a mix of like Jasper and Pearl. I already knew I was gay. That's fair. The John call. Yes, I will say. John. John, you fiend. I used to think you were in your late 20s when I first found your channel. No, I'm like a fresh high schooler, which sucks because I have to specify that when creeps come on my channel and say wood. That's nice. This one? Your OC at the back reminds me of my OC. Oh. Out of context, does anyone listen to Miracle Musical? I do. Not as often anymore, but you were one of my art idols. Thank you so. I don't know what that like deep thing. I was in the middle of swallowing my candy. Thank you so much, bro. Remember the person that got mad at you for calling someone Pookie? Say you were an adult. Yeah, I don't know what the thing is with me calling out people's bad behavior when they say something really mean or just say something that's like not cool. And then them immediately being like, them like switching up from like being really aggressive or mean, being like, "You're bullying me. I'm a minor. You're so weird. You're an adult." Because 9 times out of 10, I'm younger than them. Like that's such a dumb thing. If we can talk about Oak on Pause for a second, bro. Someone I'm currently like blocked from her channel, but like literally, I wish people would call this out more because they made a new video somewhat soon after they uh took down the video that they posted about like, oh, people are just telling me that I stole, like you guys are making fun of a child, like, oh bro, stop playing the victim. um they had their group of buddies in their comments being like, one of them was like, why did you quit posting, my love? They're like, I just got hate and stuff. Broski, you stole someone else's hard work and then expected not to be taken, given punishment for it, especially when you started cursing me out and calling me a bitch. Like, you were super mean to me and other people and cursing everybody out and not taking the blame and playing the victim, and then you expected not to get consequences for it. You're disgusting. Like, it's a child and I forgive her. At the same time, like, that is diabolical, disgusting behavior, bro. Heather's the musical. That was the first musical I was ever introduced to, and I was like 10. I love that musical, bro. So take him home to meet your parents. They'll wear a suit and tie with a fancy collar. They'll sing a lullaby. La 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 la. Bruh. I would call them out, but I don't be told I'm harassing them. They'll say you're harassing them even if you say something polite. So I mean, just like letting them keep posting and then not giving them accountability just makes it worse because they still have not taken down the video that they stole from someone else who actually worked hard to make it. So honestly, don't like send death threats. I would encourage just keeping that person accountable and just maybe not like being mean, but just say like, take down the video, please. Like just try to be polite about it, but just we can't let that just go by, especially when they were being so vitriolic and mean about it. Like it's horrible behavior that should. I don't care how small of a following or how big of a following you have. I would say this about James Charles too. God, James. I don't know how people still support James Charles or Melanie Martinez or any of them, but still, it's just keeping people accountable and just making sure like you can't really just ignore it and expect them to get better because they're looking for people to ignore their bad behavior and not say anything about it because that means they got away with it, you know. I feel like once people, if I do find out that you did say something like vitriolic back to them, or you sent death threats, I will block you from this channel. I have said that a million times. If you do something that does not align with my channel's stuff and stuff like that, then you're just not gonna be allowed to talk here. Ooh. Oh look, Heather's going to whine all night. I actually used to take voice lessons. Um, that's deep lore here. Uh, and because I was originally gonna get into singing, but then I ended up quitting, and then now I can just do a half decent Mickey Mouse impression, as most do. But it's just I wonder if I should like. She's so cutesy. I don't know if you guys can tell from my Sona, but I used to be a somewhat scene kid, but I had it on a budget because was obviously not allowed to draw alternative or dress alternative because my mom was like, "Heck no, you're not doing that." Which thank God because I would have hated it and I would have felt way more miserable than I already did. Um, but I think I definitely fell in love with like the general aesthetic of it, but I'm not as deep in the community anymore. Thank you, unnamed person, for ruining my life and then convincing me that my life is actually way better without you. Neener, neener, neener. I think that's always like the most like the best feeling is when like you think like, oh, the world's over, we're no longer friends, and then you realize, wait, this is actually like a million times better. You know? I feel like that like when you reach that point, um, it definitely makes it easier to keep going. What I say is live out of spite. That is my mantra. Live out of spite. Or I mean, obviously live for other reasons, but I'm saying like when I say live, I mean like just be happy. Be successful. If you're lacking motivation, just be successful to the just then think of just people that have wronged you and be like, "Oh, wait, you made fun of me?" Well, that's funny because I'm actually doing like way better than you. No, it's like I know it's like like not it's I think that's kind of a selfish way to think about it, but also just being like, wow, you tried to put me down, but I'm like doing really well. Oh my gosh! I feel like that's just this little petty thing, sure, but I encourage a pettiness a day keeps the doctor away. You know what I mean? Fly broken wings. Oh, you dress so nicely, bro. Can you bless me with artistic artsy? I'm hovering my hand over my screen. Okuna Matata. Okuna Matata. There you go. Been blessed. Is there a place to find all the TLO map, or is it just on the channel? I think I have a playlist of the updated in order. I don't have every single video on there because some of them just are out of context or don't match up with the timeline anymore. But it's a bit disjointed, but I tried my best to get it all in chronological order, even if it jumps a little bit. I'll just draw you when boarding, Louise. Huh? I like the shading and anatomy in your art style. Thank you very much. It took me way too long to figure out how to draw bodies properly. I think one of the biggest things that I really want people to understand, because I feel like this is pretty important, especially in later life. So you have the neck. Do not make it too small, because the actual size of your neck is about like roughly near the point of where your head would stop. This is not a great drawing of a head, but then also you have since you have things called tendons, and so your neck is actually because you have a back, and you're not just this if you just want to go for that semi-realism or realism, there's a little bit of space because your neck goes like in the middle of where your shoulders, like your entire like shoulder area would be. So it has a little bit back because there's space behind it, and then you have a collarbone which is not too far down. Uh, so then you do it here, and so usually I try to just keep it like semi lined up, and then you have your shoulders. So there's a little bit of a jump, and that way it just kind of looks a little bit rounder and looks a little bit less anime stiffness. But that's also, this looks really buff. Some people have lower shoulders. I just have really broad shoulders that stick out really bad. So there's that. I said bored. I just drew you when boarding, Louise. Yeah, literally I'm forcing myself to watch by drawing Kenji. Kenji the goat. Um, what'd you think of the Mason Digital Circus finale? I'm mixed on it. I like it and I don't like it. I think there's a lot more we could have focused on. Sorry, I'm checking my battery. Um, that I would have enjoyed more, like from a finale standpoint. But with what they worked with, I think it's good. I don't hate it. I just don't like Jax. Yeah, I go for semi-realism because I just think that's just more appealing to me. But if you go between either realism or cartoonish, that is literally good. Mika Maka Mika Muka. Elekaname Name Nachmak Melakaname. If you like the movie more than the musical, you are in enemy territory. Half of it was Jax. That is fair. I think the fandom focused way too much on Jax's sexuality than the actual story, which is a bit sad. Do you know the band McCafferty? No, I do not. I am not that niche. I'm a basic white girl. I must like the shading. Sorry, my neck actually hurts. I think it's just because of my posture. I have to like push my neck in. Um, I think this is one thing I started, but I don't know if I'm gonna finish it just because I got more stuff to do, bruh. Um, Here's another unfinished thing, which feels weirdly reminiscent of the Sunday thing we were just working on. I just don't like most of the lore we get is on Tumblr. Yeah, that's just because she's a Tumblr girly. Unless you're referring to me, which I mean, how dare you? I feel like my favorite pieces. I feel like this is one of them for sure. Why is it thundering? I'm trying to record. I like this just because it's more softer, more realistic, and more to like the artist that I do like. I don't know how I made it. It was literally like being blessed by Jesus' hands himself, because I can never recreate this. Um uh I really like this piece. I'm still dying about this piece. Ah, I wish I could like hang this up in my room, bro. Because I think what really sold it for me, I don't think I would have liked it nearly as much if I hadn't added the texture to the hair and the lighting that the Rotada's specific character had. Ooh, yummy. And I think I did this for an art trade. I had to have no idea who the character is, but I had to pull up a bunch of reference sheets for it. Um, so I really did like this one just because it was pretty warm and I was still experimenting, but I think it was really cute. Another art trade from me, of someone else's character. It's not Leona. Um, and then another art trade. I think this is still one of my like best pieces. I put it in my portfolio. If like anyone ever comes to me like, "Oh, what's your commissions?" I'm like, "Here you go." Um, I think I'm still really in love with this one. I think the shading is really cute. Um, I don't know. There's just something about. I think it's how I did the lighting, like because what I did is I used a lasso tool and then I just like softly did the edges, and I did the same with the shading, and I think that made it so much better. And then obviously we have Ibli's art trade. I actually did really like drawing this character. So my process when it comes to shading skin is I go if it, assume the character skin is like semi yellow. I always go a slightly bit more red, and then I make it a little bit more muted. So if I take the skin color and like I color drop in, then I make it a bit more red, and then a bit more muted, and then I color in the cheeks, and then I kind of like roughly line out like where the shadows would be with that. And then sometimes I'll go with a bit darker of a brown just to kind of give it some variation. And then what I do is I add a light blue under some of the darker spots to kind of make it seem like it's still dark, but also there's some coolness that kind of balances it out. And then I also add purples to the edge of the eyes, or just like some. I also add purple to like some of the darkened areas, as you can see. Again, just experimenting with the multiply layer. And you can also see my hair rendering technique. Again, I could gush for hours. Ugh. Also, I gotta admit about this piece, I am a fraud. I had to trace the actual mechanism from the screenshot. The rest of it I did it by myself by just eyeballing it. But I had to because I'd never drawn something so complex. But I did like render and like do all the rest of it just by uh glancing at it. It's just I'm ashamed that that was so difficult to draw. Ugh. I still like this. I think I would redo it though, because I feel like it's a bit stiff, personally. I like this, but I feel like I made his face too small and too thin. That'd be my only problem with it, and also because the bird does not look like a bird, it looks like it just came out the egg. Looks stupid. Also, I think I'm be real with you. I don't like this piece like at all. Cause what I did is I colored on separate layers and then I alpha locked it and then rendered separately to try to give it that like lineless look, but it just ended up looking really bad. And you can see like the gaps from where the coloring and the line art is because it was really hard to do that. And I'm never doing this again, especially not for character design that complicated. Oh, I still think about them. Yeah, I feel like I really want to experiment with. Also, this is Sunday. If anyone missed it, uh, I did make them a bit more realistic in how they would look. I also gave Vanessa's actor in this little teeny tiny AU. I gave her a lazy eye, which is a reference to her old, very first design where she had a lazy eye. So I think just tiny stuff like that is cute. Cute. Um. Ooh, we cannot go too low. We cannot go too down. I don't know why this was so depressing. This is meant to be me, but also it was just like inspiration from like a photo that I found. I'm not actually depressed. It was literally just like me taking inspiration from like music and stuff. I was really happy while making it because I just wanted to like mess with drawings. I think you can see that my thumbnail things have been getting better. This was like my first one I ever made, and then this one was a little bit later. This is my least favorite one. I made this. I'm really proud of it. Actually, I think I want to do more Roblox related content. I'm gonna be doing more like Smokey Bee kind of content. I am Smokey Bee. And then I did this one, which is my current one that I'm using for this video, and I really like it. And then this is an unfinished one that I'm working on currently because I had a horrible client experience, and I kind of need to know if I'm just like overreacting because people have been telling me like I'm getting scammed. But who knows? That you'll have to see the video for that. I don't know. Back on point because I can never stay on topic. Ugh. Oh yeah, hi Ibli. You hung it up on your wall? Dang. On Pinterest, I have a whole board of your art. Oh, you silly. Um. Ow, my like throat hurts. Question: what would say is more important to figure out first, a unique art style or good shading? Good shading. Because here's the thing, the concept of an art style is kind of stupid because you're always improving, even if you don't notice it. You're always getting better or changing what you like because you're always having new experiences. So the concept of an art style is kind of stupid because we all remember when I had pretty long faces on my characters. Um, and I wouldn't say that was my art style. I mean, sure, you could say it was an art style, but at the same time, I ended up changing it, so I can't really like say it's mine. So I'd say learning, the basics of how shading works and how to study it and stuff like that is way more important. Now, I don't think you should like approach it like this like thing of like you need to study all of the tedious things right off the bat because you should only really be doing that after you already have like a good amount of art experience just by looking at things and trying to draw it as best as you can because you'll do better and learn automatically just like without even thinking about it just because you're processing information differently. But yeah, I think worrying about that is way more important than like, oh, I need to find an art style, I need to look like this certain artist, because that's how you create imposter syndrome. And that is like the quickest way to kill your passion as an artist. Coming from someone who has had really bad imposter syndrome when it comes to art, that like stopped me from drawing for a while. Hmm. Sorry, my like throat is painful and there's a bunch of comments I missed, so I'm gonna like read that for a little bit. Why is my Keynes so hard to draw? Well, that's just because I like complicated designs, because I feel like if you just give your character a basic shorts and t-shirt, it really just eggs my Briggs, bruh. Let me see if I can pull it up. I mean, when you think about it, it's not too complicated. I mean, you have the typical outfit that he has, and you have two sharp things. Then you just have to like have uh just teeth bangs. You can do it just regularly, or you can just mess with it a little bit. Two hooks for her side bangs, elf ears, and then just her hair is just you keep it low for the most part, and then add spikes at the bottom. It's not really that specific. And then yeah, you just I know I'm saying that because it's easy for me, but yeah, I think I'm actually having like I think it's actually starting to hurt to talk, like genuinely. I don't know what's going on with me, because like my throat is starting to like hurt and like swell whenever I'm talking. I might need medical help. You need to make a video about how you're rendering shading. It would I'm not great at explaining, but I'll try maybe in the future. Wait, why does Vanessa, whoever the girl with the ponytail and lazy eye, look like Kaya? You can shut your mouth. You can keep it to yourself. Smokey B. I haven't watched Smokey B in a minute. I think I'm gonna watch Smokey B after I get off stream and I start packing my entire life away, because I guess that's the only thing I'm important for. If only I had a consistent art style. Remind me of Smokey B, Jane Animations, and Funky Frog Bait. Ugh, Funky Frog Bait. It's probably because I'm drawing with my fingers, so it's harder. Fair. Well, I do want my art style to be unique and fairly realistic, but the thing is, I'm going into the zero experience and still think the best art piece is my first one, which is my old PFP. Look, you'll always get better. You don't. There's not like a specific marker for where you stop. I mean, you can choose to get art lessons, and I did. The only really like professional art classes I got were ones to help with like specific things like how to understand animal anatomy, or working with gouache paint, which is just like important mediums. But I already had somewhat of an understanding, so I don't really have much like, oh, you should go here to learn or something like that. It just came naturally. I mean, you always are taking in new things and shapes and how to understand them. I mean, if you just look hard enough, you can try to just think of your own way in your head. How do I memorize this for me? How do I interpret the world around me? Once you figure that out, it's a bit easier to try and figure out like, okay, I'm gonna figure out how to understand the world around me. And now that means that I can look at things and understand them and then put that knowledge towards my art. Are you allergic to haichu maybe? No, because I've had haichu before. Um um howdy, this is the first time in your life. Oh, welcome. Um I doth returned. How y'all doing? We're doing good. Loki's watching things about history and disaster in history. The only reaction type of YouTubers I watch is Lazy and Danky Boy. Danky Danky ya boy. Danky Abo? Danky ya boy. I watched Lazy. I haven't watched him in like a few months because I've been focusing on uh, different um different content just to listen to. Just as my taste has evolved. I'm actually like suffering right now. Just run a few minutes ago, first JDC. Sorry, you're literally like watching me go into like anaphylaxis. Um, I think. I don't know, I've never had an allergic reaction. Aside from like eyeliner. And you're broken, don't have an iPad? You can, yeah, that's probably a good idea. I think isn't like a Q-tip and then it's tinfoil. And paper. Crap. I am Am I getting sick? Don't tell me my brother got me sick because he gave me some stupid candy, bruh. The holidays are finally here for me, and I'm gonna cosplay as Am from Have No Moth to a Con. Are you speaking tongues? Okay, bye bye. Oh, bye. Howdy, howdy. Every time you open the thingy for the Haichu at first, it sounds like a gun being loaded, and I pause. Then you get one set of a Q-tip and put it in the pen. Yeah. Tongue, so hurt. That's so funny. You didn't even spell it right. Where'd the moth go? I have no moth. I have no moth and I must butterfly. The butterfly took my moth. I am butterfly. I'm butterfly. I don't know anything about how I have no moth and I must scream. If I start like struggling to breathe, I think I'm gonna turn off stream. 10 times streamers accidentally have had a horrific accident on stream. Watch Mojo. Watch Mojo can burn. I was never a Watch Mojo fan. In fact, people genuinely are like Watch Mojo fans. Like they're just countdown to the top 10 blank something because their format hasn't changed in 10 years. Me and my homies hate Watch Mojo. Do you like pop music? Depends on the kind of music, because I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I would sooner die than listen to Taylor Swift music. And then I'm not a super big fan of like popular pop artists. I'm not gonna be like, OMG, I'm so indie. Like I only listen to um specific things. I literally just listen to Mitski. So I don't think I like this mouth. It's gotta go. I think it's because the glasses look so weird. Gotta go for the titular. Damn. No. I've been, yeah, my throat is starting to like hurt. I think I'm sick. Who else found out that Troom Troom shipped Cindy Lou Who with the Grinch? What? I'm gonna watch one of those. If I name your fandom You're Out compilations, let's see. Check out Nefali. Check out my pookster. My bing de blabong. My boogie boogie. I'm still not liking it. I'm struggling over here. Okay, I'm liking it a bit more. I think I'm gonna cut off in a few minutes. I've been streaming for too long. I think I'm starting to go crazy. How do I do art trade, Louise? Likely just contact me through my business email. My business email. My art. I think it's labeled as my art email now. My art email. In my description, because that's like the safest way for me. I think I genuinely gotta go. I think something's wrong with me. Wish I had an art YouTuber friend. I mean, I'm the art YouTuber friend, obviously, but it kind of just happened because I only really becomes like friends or moods with people in the industry just because we either make fan art for each other and then we're like, whoa, or we just literally just are just randomly become mutuals. It could be stress. No, like literally something's medically wrong. Crazy crazy once. They locked me in a room of rubber room full of rats. You have commissions. I do actually. I low-key forgot that I had commissions. Hello. I got on the fifth one when they mentioned Gravity Falls. Fair. Oh, I'm starting to slow down. Oh no. Oh no. Drink water. I don't have any water on me. I think I'll go like get some medicine. I'm genuinely like pushing my esophagus back into my throat because it's like I'm in pain. Ugh. Okay. Ugh. Do we have any more questions before I leave? Any more lore things? So I feel like I can't. I'm starting to like stretch my throat to get to stop. Ooh, funny, goofy. Take care of yourself. Oh no. How did you find your art style? Just mixing together a million different things that I thought were aesthetically pleasing and then trying to recreate it on my own. Who is the son in your Maison Diddle Circus AU? I think that would have to be Floyd. The unnamed Floyd. I'm got fried chicken. Trying to explain Australian food to an American right now. Well, that's just cause Australian food is a weird. Vine boom. What are Parker's favorite non-food things to eat? I'm pretty sure it's kind of similar to me, which it was pencil lead and just drywall. I didn't eat drywall to be completely yeah. Still traumatized from Marmite. Have no idea what it is. I'm a dip. Bye. Car, you're at 4K. Yeah. I just realized I never made Kara moderator. There you go, Pookie Dookie. Alright, now that I've made Kara moderator, I need to get out of here. I need to fix my medical. Okay. Vegemite. Vegemite sucks. Ka-chow.